Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Deborah Cohen, and today I want to speak from the heart about something that has deeply troubled me as an American. Over the last several years, especially during the presidency of Donald Trump, I have watched a level of hatred emerge in America unlike anything I remember growing up in the 60s and 70s. Today's social media feels like a battlefield. People scream at each other instead of speaking to one another. Families stop talking about politics. Friendships dissolve. Neighbors become enemies. And many Americans wake up every day already angry because they even have to leave their homes. What concerns me most is not simply political disagreement. Disagreement is part of democracy. Healthy debate is necessary in a free society. What concerns me is hatred, the mocking, the humiliation, the cruelty, the obsession with destroying people who disagree with each other and us. Some Americans hate President Trump so intensely that every conversation becomes consumed with rage. Others respond with equal hostility in return. And somewhere in the middle, the soul of this country is being exhausted. Today's podcast is not about convincing you to vote for one party or another. No, it's about asking a deeper question. What kind of nation are we becoming? And perhaps even more importantly, how do we stop this cycle before hatred destroys us from within? This is Deborah Cohen, and I will be right back after this message.
I never expected my life to become a memoir.
I gotta move a little longer, and I will be much stronger. And I'm running hard and free to be me, to be me. My body glides in stealth motion, like a locomotion. I see the track in front of me.
When the night finally came, I could barely breathe from the excitement. The stage lights hit my face, warm and golden. I strapped on my Les Paul, the same one I still own, and we launched into Take It Easy, Take It Easy. Follow if you believe pain can become purpose.
This is Deborah Cohen. Let's talk about it. When anger becomes identity. There is a difference between disagreement and emotional addiction to outrage. America has always had political conflict. We survived the Civil War. We survived Vietnam. We survived Watergate. We survived racial unrest and national tragedy. But something feels different today. Hatred has become performative. People now gain social approval for cruelty. Online algorithms reward outrage because outrage keeps people clicking. The angrier a post becomes, the more attention it receives. Social media platforms have unintentionally created emotional echo chambers where people feed one another's rage every day. And when people spend years consuming outrage, it changes them. Psychologically, chronic anger affects the nervous system. It increases stress hormones. It raises blood pressure. It damages sleep. It affects relationships and mental health. But beyond biology, hatred changes the human spirit. When hatred becomes identity, people stop seeing human beings. They only see enemies. That is dangerous. Because once people believe others are no longer human, they begin justifying behavior they once considered immoral. History has shown this repeatedly. Nations rarely collapse from disagreement alone. They collapse when citizens lose the ability to see one another as fellow human beings. Think about it as we go to this break.
As a priest, I want to educate my members with a nonfiction book about Palestine that will give congregants a biblical perspective of the Israeli-Palestine conflict. I found this new book, Jewish Palestine, Arab Palestine 2nd edition, which was published right after President Trump took office in 2025. It explains the chronological details of the conflict and why the two-state solutions go against the Bible. I am asking my congregants to use this book in their Bible studies, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback.
So, why are people so angry? I believe many Americans are carrying pain they do not know how to process. Economic fear, loneliness, loss of purpose, rapid cultural change, isolation, family fragmentation, fear about the future. Many people feel unseen. Many feel powerless, and anger often becomes the easiest emotional outlet for deeper pain. Social media then amplifies this pain by rewarding emotional extremes. People receive validation for insults, followers for cruelty, attention for humiliation, and gradually outrage becomes entertainment. But hatred is never healing. Hatred may feel powerful temporarily, but it ultimately destroys the person carrying it. It corrodes peace. It corrodes families. It corrodes nations. And sadly, many people no longer realize how spiritually unhealthy this environment has become. We now live in a culture where being calm is sometimes viewed as weakness. Compassion is mocked. Forgiveness is mocked. Humility is mocked. But hatred cannot build anything lasting. You cannot build peace through contempt. You cannot build unity through humiliation. You cannot heal America by constantly telling millions of fellow citizens that they are evil simply because they voted differently. This does not mean we ignore wrongdoing. It does not mean we stop speaking truth. It does not mean we abandon principles. But there is a difference between standing for convictions and becoming consumed by hatred. And that line matters. I'll be right back after this break.
Hey everyone, I'm in New York City walking toward the July 4th celebration for America 250. The energy is incredible, so many flags and people. This is for America's 250th. It's so inspiring.
So, what does hatred do to a country? Let's look at this. Civilizations are not only held together by laws, they are held together by shared moral restraint. When citizens stop restraining hatred, society becomes unraveling from the inside. We can see it everywhere now. People screaming in restaurants, violence at protests, online harassment campaigns, public shaming, celebrating the suffering of political opponents. Many Americans now seem emotionally unable to tolerate disagreement. That should concern every one of us, regardless of political affiliation. Because once hatred becomes normalized, everyone eventually becomes a target. The emotional temperature in America has become dangerously high. And I sometimes wonder, what are children learning from us? They are watching adults mock, rage, curse, insult, and demean one another every day online. If hatred becomes cultural normalcy, future generations may inherit a nation unable to cooperate at all. And no democracy can survive indefinitely without basic mutual respect. Even the founders of America understood this. Freedom requires moral responsibility. Rights without self-control eventually produce chaos. This is why healthy speech matters. Words matter. In Judaism, there is the concept of lashon hara, harmful speech. Words can wound people. 3 people: the speaker, the listener, and the person being talked about. The Christian scriptures similarly teach believers to focus on what is pure, noble, lovely, and of good report. These teachings exist because human beings are deeply influenced by what they repeatedly say and consume. A nation filled with hateful speech eventually becomes spiritually sick. Think about it. I'll be right back.
Oh, say shalom bimroma. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael. Oh, say shalom.
So, how do we turn this around? How do we begin healing? Not through more screaming, not through revenge, not through humiliating those we disagree with. Healing begins with personal responsibility. Each of us must decide, will I contribute to destruction or restoration? Here are a few practical ways we can begin turning this around. First, pause before reacting online. Not every post deserves a response. Not every insult deserves retaliation. Sometimes silence is wisdom. Second, refuse to dehumanize people. You may strongly disagree politically while still recognizing another person's humanity. Third, protect your nervous system. Constant outrage damages mental and physical health. Spend time in nature. Pray, meditate, sing, read uplifting material. Limit toxic media consumption. Fourth, channel emotional energy into service. Volunteer, help your community, support veterans, visit the elderly, mentor children. Hatred consumes energy. Purpose redirects it. And finally, remember that every movement in history that truly healed people was rooted not in hatred, but in moral courage and love. Love is not weakness. Love is disciplined strength. It takes far more strength to build bridges than destroy them. Will you be a bridge builder or a bridge destroyer? Sorry. I still believe Americans can heal. But healing will not begin in Washington alone. It begins in ordinary conversations, in homes, in neighborhoods, in churches and synagogues, in schools, online, and within our own hearts. Every single day, we each make a choice. Will we increase darkness or light? Hatred may feel satisfying for a moment, but it ultimately leaves destruction behind. History proves this again and again. But compassion restraint, wisdom, courage, and moral responsibility. These are the things that preserve civilizations. No matter your politics, I encourage you today. Use your voice to build. Use your words to heal. Use your energy for something higher than outrage. Because America does not need more hatred. America needs people willing to become peacemakers again. And perhaps the greatest patriotic act today is not screaming louder than everyone else, but refusing to hate. Which will you choose? Thank you for listening to Healing a Divided America, turning hatred into hope. I'm Deborah Cohen. Until next time, remember, words can wound, but they can also heal. Let us become people who build bridges instead of burning them. And as my counselor told me these words of wisdom, hurting people hurt people. Healed people heal people. Which one do you want to be? It's a choice we all have to make. This is Deborah Cohen. I hope you will share this, and I'm going to release a new song on Memorial Day 2026, America the Beautiful. And I'm also working on a new book, which will be released July 4th. It is called Judeo-Christian America. Look for it in stores online, July 4th, 2026. And now I'd like to share a snippet with you of my song release, America the Beautiful, if I can find it. Here it is. God bless you. God bless all people. And God bless America.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God sheds grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to